Your device is requested to listen to the Two Factor podcast. This is the Valentine special. So roses are red, violets are blue. Are we actually on episode 2? But let me try again, okay? Roses are red, violets are blue. You think they're a 10 out of 10? Brother, no, my point of view. Please don't tell me when I said that, but I've been wanting to say that this whole week. I wrote it down specifically because I was like, what can I do to rhyme with violets are blue? Also, if anyone knows what the actual poem from that is, if it's actually supposed to be romantic or a piss take, please let me know. Okay. My love for rom-coms convinced me that two people spent enough time together, they could fall in love and essentially end up together. And I think for me as a young child, that really confused me because I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I can just work with the love of my life, or if I'm stuck in a room with someone, they'll end up being my husband. Or the girl from Glee and Ashton Kutcher in the same room, and then he realizes, oh my God, I'm in love with her, then goes to the New Year's, the Valentine's Day special, the New Year's special. I don't even know. It's one of them, Valentine's Day or New Year's Day. And I used to think to myself, as if in one day he's realized he has this profound love for her. And I think since then I was convinced as a child that, you know what, if I spent enough time with someone, that means I could fall in love with him. But now being, and I would say this is in 3 to 4 relationships, yeah, and I can't believe I'm saying this as someone who is brown, and my mom and dad will probably be listening to this, and they probably didn't know about the other few, so sorry in advance. I realized that's actually not the case. So you've probably seen the title already, The Key to Stop Faking It. Now, a lot of people probably read that and gone, Cushy, clean your brain, eat some soap. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I meant by stop faking it is stop faking it in a relationship and being your authentic self in a relationship. Now, in the spirit of Valentine's Day, I feel a lot of people are contemplating, overanalyzing, figuring out if their partners or crush are actually the one. I feel this is one of the most top search questions at the moment right now. How do I know if my crush, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever they might be, is the one? I can't verify if you found the one, but I could have a shot at figuring out if they're definitely not. So, like the last episode, we're going to kind of segment this into 3 sections: the hot take, the scams, and then we're going to look at those firewalls / actionable steps to kind of figure out, okay, maybe I am faking it and maybe they aren't the one, and maybe I just really need to figure out a bit more this Valentine's Day other than what I'm wearing. Okay, the hot take. I have this theory that the faking it or not being your authentic self actually starts at the talking stage. Let's be for real, the facade of flirting can only take you so far until you realize that actually, you know what? All I want to do is trauma dump. All I want to do is just be myself. All I want to do is pick up the TikTok reference, and I don't care that it's overused, and I want to say slay in every sentence, right? The flirting part and the facade of that only it exhausts after a while. And I struggle with this big time. I don't know if it's because I'm an oversharer, I'm an overthinker. I just can't be the mysterious type. And trust me, I've tried. I wanted to be Bella Swan from Twilight, and I just couldn't do it. It's so funny because I've watched so many videos on, how to text a guy when he doesn't text you back, or what to text to my crush, or what to send as a late night text, and all these different sort of manufactured or artificial texts to send someone in sort of this pursuit of flirting. I feel this is where all of the fakeness or the someone being inauthentic starts. You know what's also really funny? I love how we go through all this effort to just text someone whose IQ is probably in the negatives. I don't know why we try so hard on being so unauthentic to someone who really doesn't even deserve it. I don't know. I think this is the biggest sort of hot take, because a lot of people are saying that, the flirting is the beginning, the budding, the part where you see that tension to see if you're really attracted to someone. But I feel unless you're genuinely funny and that's your form of flirting, any other form of flirting is just a little bit, I don't know, it just seems a little bit ingenuine. And I feel at some point it's let me take my mask off and let me just talk to you you're one of my girlfriends. I have a really good story for this. I don't even know if I've even told my mom. I think I've told her in dribs and drabs, but I've probably told everyone else ever who's ever been in my life. And so I wanted to share this one more time for the new viewers here. Cricket guy. So this is, okay, it's been around 6 to 7 months post breakup for my last relationship. For those who know, my last relationship ended in a very, I'm going to just say this in one sentence so I don't ramble about it. My parents almost disowned me. I have nothing but love and light for that person, but I also don't have love and light for this person. But was post that, and I genuinely did believe that this person was, someone really special, as you do. Like, if you have a good heart, that's probably what you're going to think about when you kind of break up with someone or they're breaking up with you. So you know what? I took a really, really long gap from talking to anyone, dating. If I was low-key, even interested in someone, it would be like a crush from afar, but I never really acted on it. One day, funny enough, I was with my friend Sabrine. There you go. There's your shout out. I know I promised I would do it this episode. I was on my phone and I was actually watching those clips that you see for podcasts, which is really ironic because I'm doing one right now. And I saw this cricket player. And you know what's really funny is that he actually played not too long ago, I think a few weeks ago. He's no an international star. He just plays for the BBL. I'm really scared that he's going to see this. Anyway, so I saw him and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is very well spoken. That's that's a trait that I really appreciate and I find really attractive rather than what they just look like. He spoke really well for this 1 30-second clip. Now, I was so misled, but anyway, I look at it, I'm like, oh my God. I said to my girlfriend, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's kind of cute. And she's like, yeah, he's kind of cute. But no, I'm like, no, but listen to what he's saying. It's so intellectually stimulating. She's like, you know what? I dare you to message him. And for me, I'm the one where, and you'll hear it in my last episode, is embarrassment is a choice. I was like, not I wouldn't care if I messaged him because I'm like, okay, well, you only live once. But it had been so long since I'd actively try to text someone or show them that I was interested in them. Anyway, so then I messaged him and I was like, oh my God, what do I even say? Because the first thing I want to say is something stupid or something like crack a joke or something be myself, right? Be my sort of humorous self. And I just had this feeling this guy wouldn't, it wouldn't translate. So I had to go back, what to text a guy if you're interested in them. Again, this is where all the faking starts. So I go, I'm going to say something creative because this guy has a mass following. How is he going to see that I exist? So I followed him. Literally 10 minutes later, he follows me back. I'm like, girl, I'm in. And then I message him and I literally go, hey, blank, can you please take this survey? Oh my God, if anyone's listening, you already know this is going downhill. Why would I say that? I would never say that in a million years. I don't even take surveys, so I don't even understand why I've said this. And then he goes, yeah, sure, X. I'm like, period. And then I sent him a blank contact. So when you're creating a contact in your iPhone and you're creating a contact, it's all blank. I sent him a screenshot of that. So I was basically asking him for his number and then he laughed it off. And I'm thinking to myself, this feels so ingenuine. It's iconic. That's the only thing that I would say feels like me. But other than that, I would never speak like that. I would never do that. And then the sort of conversations from then on, I pretended that I really liked the music that he was into. I did the whole I'll wait 3 to 4 hours to 12 hours to text him back so I can act like this mysterious girl. When I see a notification that come up, I have this urge to message him back. The lesson is flirting can go so far and the type of flirting that you're doing can go so far. For me, honestly, if you're fun in terms of you're cracking jokes, you're being your authentic self, you're just being funny, then for me, I might interpret that as flirting, but I also know that's a big part and the primary part that makes up who you are. So that's my hot take and I've got a bit of an anecdote to go with it. So hopefully, oh my God, I'm really hoping you guys don't make fun of me for bringing up the cricket guy's story again. If you know who this is, yeah, don't mention it. The other thing is that I feel is really interesting when people say, oh, I'm naturally a flirt or I love flirting with people. I feel people get mistaken that for just being funny because you can have the sexual version of flirting, I feel, which is not neither good or bad. But what I'm trying to say is just don't misconstrue being funny and humorous as just being flirty. You can just be funny and people can appreciate and having a laugh. It's nothing it's not a revolutionary characteristic. Okay, next section, the scams. Okay, remember the podcast episode today is called The Key to Stop Faking It. And so I feel on TikTok, there are so many different theories to kind of understand if they're for you, taxi cab theory, if they're for you, 19, the person that you met at 19 theory, all these different theories. Okay, I just really want to go down to one. I saw this theory that if you feel super tired and relaxed after you're with the person that you're like hanging out with, okay, and I'm talking about this as a romantic partner, a crush, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, it means that you're super comfortable with them and you're emitting some sort of chemical hormone that's secretly telling you that you are comfortable with them. I don't know. For me, I don't like whether it's scientifically proven or not. I still don't genuinely believe it. And for me, I'm a science girl. Like, don't tell anyone else this, but like, I love the facts. I also do love superstition, but I can't back this one. Why? Because when I'm with my friends and I'm feeling down, I feel supercharged after having a laugh with them. I feel energetic. I feel like I can take on anything. I feel like I could be in the running for a Nobel Peace Prize when I hang out with my friends, when I hang out with people that I love, when I hang out with my family, when I hang out with my sister. You're trying to tell me after you hang out with this guy or girl or whoever they might be and you're feeling like sleepy and tired and you're interpreting that as being comfortable. I don't know, for me, I feel like you're just drained. I don't know. It's like I think someone's worded it really well as an energy vampire. They're draining the energy out of you. So I feel like, why would your body feel drained after hanging out with someone that you're supposed to be with? I don't know. I find that kind of like a little bit of a scam. The next thing I have is, look, they did this for me, right? And I'm not talking about, okay, like, look, like they bought you a Ferrari or they sent you a good morning text. I'm not talking about that. I feel like there's a difference between, look, they did this for me, or he did it or she did it for themselves. And okay, this doesn't really make sense when I say it like this, but I'm going to tell you a story. So my ex, I can't believe I'm saying this and I can't believe this is going to get published, and mum and dad, you cannot get mad at me for bringing up this again, but my ex was a Leo. I don't bring star signs into this, but he was a Leo, and he was a very extravagant sort of person. He loved gift giving, and that was not my form of love to give. Like, I don't really like to give gifts to someone, and if I am, it's going to be very sentimental gifts. But he was very much like it's all about how much that the monetary cost for the gift or the experience or whatever it might be. And for a long time, I interpreted this as, oh, look, he really cares like about me. Like, he did this for me. He booked this restaurant. Like, one time he booked Eureka, which is a really like expensive experience, like the one in Melbourne where you sit up really high top. Like, it's a really beautiful view. It was a beautiful experience, but it's not something that I genuinely like. I love lavish things, like, don't get me wrong, but it didn't have really much a significance for me. And this was supposed to be anniversary dinner, right? I'd rather have someone like take me to like the first place that we met and make it really like cutesy than do this, okay? And mind you, like, we hadn't been dating for that long. It took me to here. And I interpret that as like, oh my God, look how much effort and care and love he has for me because he spent this much money on me. Did he do it for me, or did he do it to just say that he could do that? I realized later on all the different experiences that we did, all the gifts that he bought me, and I feel bad because I'm feeling like I never want to out someone for them, and I know that I have love and light and I send you love and light, but he honestly did it so he could say, oh, look, I did this for her. I did, and at the end of the day, he was also winning too. Like, he always wanted to go to Eureka. He always wanted to like go to these restaurants. He always wanted to go on these trips. He always wanted to do that. Like, so it felt almost like everything, if it was meant for me, had to have some investment for him. It had to have something in it for him. So really, did he do it for me? Or did they do it for me? Or did he generally just do it for them and it was just an excuse, like I was just an excuse for him to do it? Let me know if that made sense. I read this amazing article. It's called, it's by Esther Perel and Mary Miller. She has her middle name here. I don't know why it's called Mary Alive Miller. Like, obviously she's alive, but I don't know why it's on my iPad. And they wrote an amazing article called The 5 Myths We Tell Ourselves When We're Dating. Now, I'm not going to go through all 5 myths because obviously I'm going to link it somewhere. You can have a read. And, we should read as people. We shouldn't just watch TikToks and listen to podcasts. We should read. So I'm going to recommend reading this article. It's amazing. I just wanted to dissect 2 more myths/scams, and then we're going to go through our actionable steps. Okay, myth 1. There's only one person out there for me. Now, I'm not going to take any credit for anything that's said here, but I want to kind of highlight and tell you guys what I found super interesting. So, dating to find the one, it's extremely limiting and often leads to major disappointment. There's never going to be one person whose love is so powerful that checks every box, heals our wounds, and makes us want to delete all the apps. You have to make it work. Now, this is really interesting to me because my parents have an arranged marriage. So it's kind of unfair for anyone who's ever had an arranged marriage to think that there is the person that they were arranged to be married to is the one for them, right? Because they didn't get that opportunity to date. And this is very popular in a lot of cultures, not just within like stereotypically arranged marriages, right? So a lot of people also don't get an opportunity to date. So it's unfair and limiting to them as well to think that the person in front of them is the one for them. They made it work. It's also important for us to realize, and for those who are trying to figure out the key if they're faking it, are you trying to convince yourself that you want to make this work, or do you want it to make it work, right? I think it's super interesting because if we look at thinking about, okay, there's one destined person for me, you're trying to tell me that like you live in this like one suburb and the person who lives down the street is the person for you? Like there's a big jillion people out there. If we believed in this belief, the probability would be super, super low. Anyway, but yeah, I thought that was super interesting. The next myth is if I try harder with the person I'm interested in, they will eventually come around. Again, I want to take this section from the article and read it to you guys. But there's a difference between trying harder and self-degradation, correct me if I'm wrong, and no amount of self-degradation will provoke the true feeling of love in another person. Modern love and the desire is about free will. People can't make up love about us. We can invite the love of another. We can behave in ways that invite people to appreciate us, to realize the beauty of what we share, and to let the feeling of love grow inside them from a glimmer to a flame. If the person we like isn't interested we would have to let them lose us. Now, for me, when I read that, I kind of, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't understand it, but I tried to kind of crunch this into one sentence. Love is a verb, not a permanent state of enthusiasm. So it's something that you do. It's something you're loving, you choose to do. And so I feel like by feeling like you have to be forced to do it by someone you kind of are attracted to or you're somewhat interested in and it feels like a chore, doesn't seem like a genuine form of love. Love is a verb, not a permanent state of enthusiasm. On to the third section, actionable steps. This is super interesting, and this is really specific for the ladies and the women who are listening. I want to say I'll think on the fly if I can figure out it for the other way around for the masculine person in the relationship. But I've got one for the ladies and the women for this first one. Ladies, get him to hold your bag. Now, why would this be part of figuring out if you're faking it in a relationship? If he gets the ick or he goes, ugh, like, why you want me to hold your bag? Or he gets grossed out or he's weird or uncomfortable holding your bag, just think about the fact that, okay, when he's playing with like your children one day, he has to, I don't know, play in a costume one day with your kids. Can you imagine him doing that? Because I feel like it's the same thing. It's like where you take something that's slightly girly or more feminine, and if a guy feels like icked out by that, like, just think about, okay, what is the bigger picture here? Like, for me, what I think of is, okay, if you can't hold my bag, how do I expect for you to play, like, tea time with, like, if I have a daughter? Like, what are you just going to do? Just be, like, icked out by it? You wouldn't tell that to a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old. And who cares what they're interested in? They can be interested in fairies and trucks. You should be interested in what they're interested in. And it's a small task. And you're trying to tell me, like, your ego is so, so big that you can't hold a bag? Girl, you're living a lie. Just cut it off. The next thing is, I see this trend a lot on TikTok where it's like a slideshow and it says, can you imagine him like taking you from the car into the room? Or can you imagine her like cooking a meal for you and all of this, right? Okay, a part of my imagination goes so far, so I really can't imagine everything. But seriously, just think about, can you imagine your life without them? Remember, you're a person before you met the person that you think you're supposed to be in a relationship with. You were a person before you thought you found the one. You're a person before this. You can be a person after it. So I want you to try and just imagine, can you imagine a life after them? It's like Cher said, is there a life after love, right? So think about, is there a life after this particular person? And I feel like it's a really hard thought. It can be really hard to digest and it can almost feel scary and sad. But if you can imagine it and somewhat somewhere you feel like a relief, you feel happy, you feel at peace, I think that's telling you a lot, girl. Or guy, whoever I'm talking to. I'm just saying, like, I'm saying because, like, I feel like I had to do this, and so I'm embodying the feminine part in a relationship. So, I mean, for my men out there, can you imagine? Can you imagine life after this particular person? This is also another really interesting thing. Ask your friends, ask your family, would they ever stand up for them? As in your partner or the person that you're interested in. Now, the reason why I say this is because obviously your family and your friends in the best of situations always want to have your back, right? But if they genuinely saw and love this person and believe that you guys are a match, I feel like somewhere they would want the best for you. And therefore, if you had this misconstrued or you were overthinking or something happened and you believe that you want to break things off, would they stand up for your partner or the person that you were interested in, even when they think that it might be going against you? Okay? If they would and they can, that kind of tells you that you've got other people in your life emitting good vibes, good energy, and essentially believe that what you guys have is real. If they won't and they'll take any opportunity to slam them, I don't know. I'm telling you, you want the person that you're with to be real and want to have that shared reality. And your shared reality includes your friends and your family. This is the last thing that I will say. And the last thing I'm going to say is an actionable step. It's again imagine this, picture this sort of question, but it's also a really big fear of mine. Picture this. When you're 90, old and wrinkled, and you look like a pickle from a pickle jar, or you could be looking like one of them MILFs, but like when you're 90 and like you're laying in bed and you're thinking about your life, would you say you spoke your truth and you lived your truth romantically with the person that's sleeping right next to you? Or would you say you're incompetent or they're incompetent? That image, I think about that image all the time, particularly when I feel like, oh my God, like, should I still be in this talking stage? Should I still why am I still holding space for them in my head? When I'm 90, can I say that I was authentically myself? I wasn't in that stupid flirting stage. I generally spoke my truth. I lived my truth. And, they were my life partner because I was able to live my life truthfully with them. Okay. This is all, I feel like it's really funny because I am not in a relationship. I haven't found the one. I'm not married. I've never kind of had a relationship more than 2 years. And so I feel like in some ways, am I really qualified to say anything on this episode? Maybe don't tell anyone. Keep it 2-factor. Thank you so much for listening in and happy Valentine's Day.